Okay, now the best performing stocks almost always come from leading sectors and industry groups, and that's no coincidence. So when you're looking for stock ideas, it's good to start with figuring out what those leading sectors are. And why does this matter so much? Well, we're trying to find the cream of the crop. Why buy the best stocks in a poorly performing sector when you could buy the best stock in a top performing sector? The bottom line here, focusing on those leading sectors and industry groups will boost your success rate. Okay, so there are a few ways to figure out what the leading groups are. One is by looking at IBD's sector and industry group rankings, and the other is by screening and analyzing charts directly. So let's start with sector and industry group rankings. Now, IBD tracks and ranks the performance of 33 market sectors, and we further break those sectors down into industry groups. IBD tracks 197 of those. Our research shows that investors should focus on stocks that come from the top quartile of IBD's industry groups. Now, savvy investors know that tracking industry group rankings can also be helpful in determining sector rotation. Now, just because a particular industry group or sector is a laggard, that doesn't mean it can't eventually become a leader if the group turns around. So when you see a group quickly move up in the rankings, that's something you want to keep your eye on. And the same thing goes when you're seeing a leading group that's falling out of favor. Okay, so IBD's sector and industry group rankings is one easy way to find out where leading stocks are coming from, but you can also reach the same conclusion by analyzing stock charts directly. Now remember, last week we went over IBD's investing trifecta: top-notch fundamentals, the strong chart action, and favorable market conditions. In your investing routine, it's good to get in the habit of scanning stock charts with those factors in mind. And if you're starting to see a lot of chart pattern setups for high-quality stocks in a particular sector, that's your first clue that there's something you should be paying attention to here. And if you start to see breakouts to new highs from these setups that are working and leading to strong gains, well, that's further evidence of the type of action seen among the strongest industry groups. Okay, so to explain all of this, today let's focus on the software sector. That's one of the standout groups this year. It's collectively gained about 38% so far in 2019 and has only recently been outpaced by the aerospace sector, and only slightly. All right, now last week we looked at software sector leader CyberArk, and this week we're going to take a quick look at several other top software stocks that were setting up and breaking out around the same time as CyberArk towards the beginning of the year. Okay, so let's rewind the clock a few months when stocks were just starting to recover from the sell-off of 2018. That's when many top software stocks were setting up. For example, first, let's take a look at Coupa Software, which broke out of a cut base in heavy volume in late January and extended its gains in the following two sessions with strong volume as well. Now, shares of the enterprise software stock eventually pulled back a little bit here, but it formed a new base. And Coupa broke out of that base in late April and is up almost 40% from that buy point. And the stock is now working on a rare ascending base, which is marked by 3 pullbacks with higher highs and higher lows, and the buy point here is at 148.10. Now, earnings growth for Coupa has been strong, and while analysts do expect a slowdown in earnings from an annual perspective, bottom line growth is expected to hit 273% in 2020. All right, and now let's take a look at Scalar from the Security Software Group. Scalar cleared a consolidation in early February and extended its gains after posting a strong earnings report several weeks later. Now, the security software stock turned profitable just 3 quarters ago and has posted sales growth between 59 and 65% over that same time period. Now, Scalar has climbed nearly 80% since that breakout. And last but not least, let's take a look at Shopify. And Shopify cleared a consolidation shortly after posting quarterly earnings growth of 73% in mid-February, and the enterprise software stock has now more than doubled since clearing that buy point. And the strong move has been accompanied by 2 quarters of accelerating sales growth. And the stock has also provided investors with multiple buying opportunities along its run to add shares to their positions. Now, these are just a few examples of the many software stocks that have made big moves this year. Many of those runs were sparked by breakouts happening around the same time. So if you're continually paying attention to what the leading sectors are and the action within those sectors, you'll be in great shape for finding leading stocks that are primed to make big moves. And when we come back, Global X is going to help us drill down into the growth drivers we're seeing in the software sector and what that could mean for your portfolio. You don't want to miss it.